Hey everybody, it's Lloyd Spence, and the month of June is heating up with a ton of exciting sports action. And BetOnline is where you can find it, from baseball and hockey playoffs to baseball's marquee matchups, including prop bets and futures. BetOnline has all the latest odds, the news, and information for all your online sporting betting needs. So, visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your, wait for it, 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Tell them the Noisemaker sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah.
Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get the groove in a bag of a can. But to make it round the world, and the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile.
I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn World.
What's that saying? Breaking down the rumor and smiling down. Speaking for the people who must go around. Taking truth to power with the whisper and the shout. We're talking noise. Oh yeah, talking noise. Yeah, yeah. Say it again, say it. We're talking noise. Yeah, talking noise. Really don't have to fool around. Never noise keeps us under. When truth provide. The sign that you is a sign of success. We're talking noise. Oh yeah, talking noise. Yeah, picking up all the same. We're talking noise. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Talking noise. Share it again. We're talking noise.
Welcome to Talking Noise, the daily podcast that brings you up to speed and keeps you informed about real issues affecting real people. With your host, Mr. Talking Noise himself, Lloyd Spence. His beautiful wife, Mrs. Noise, Kenyatta Spence. The ever-informed Brother Noise, Alan Brown. And yours cordially, Uncle Noise, Shake Anderson. Come on in and join us as we reveal and opine today's most pressing issues. Real truth while having real fun. Talking Noise is in your house right now. So sit back and enjoy Talking Noise.
We're talking noise. Talking noise. We're talking noise. Talking noise. We're talking noise.
Another fine Wednesday, also known as Hump Day, is upon us. And your boy Nim is here. Mr. Noise. Al B, Queen Noise. We're talking noise. Our topic today, civil disagreements. Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Talk about where we're going. Mama Noise, Al, you guys are muted because that's what happens on a live broadcast through a Zoom-based company.
Because we let you do your intro.
Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Talk
Okay.
about where we're going. What's up, Mama Noise?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Can I just tell y'all right off the top, me and Mama Noise are having a civil disagreement right now. We are not on good terms right now.
We're not.
I'm just telling you. Mama Noise is trying to freeze me out. It is cold in this house. It's freezing in this joint, in this establishment.
Well, it's like 90-some degrees outside.
But it ain't got to be subtropic in here.
But see, the problem is it's hot upstairs and cold downstairs.
I don't even care today. I got my blanket right here. I don't even care. I don't care. It's freezing.
Well,
I'm doing the whole show like this.
Anyway.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm doing the whole show this way. It's freezing.
That's ridiculous.
You got it freezing in here.
It's not.
Even you got on a hoodie.
Yeah, but you don't see me doing all that snuggling and stuff. Even though I have a nice blanket from a little company right here as well.
I don't care. It's cold. She's trying to take me out, Al.
I'm trying to conserve energy.
She's trying to stick me for my paper. That's right. Erica said conserve your energy. It's cold.
I unplugged my box fan, so I did make a contribution.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? It's cold.
Well, it could be the alternative.
Unmute, Al, so we can hear what you're saying.
He said,
Al B said he can't unmute. Okay.
He said, you own your own, my brother.
No, he's right there.
I didn't hear a word you said. It took me for the last 15 minutes to get my sound right.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what happens, man. Technical difficulties when we on this, until we can be together. She's trying to take me out. It's cold. We having a civil disagreement right now. That's the topic of the show. And we living it in real time. I'm freezing in this house.
He's complaining about something so trivial.
Is it trivial?
Yeah.
My nose is running, man.
All right. When that Texas heat hit 113.
I'm just saying, I don't understand.
Now, you know what? You always defending Mama Noise. What's that about?
Honestly, I think it's just another poor attempt to get that Sigma blanket.
All right, listen. You can think what you want. It is freezing in this joint.
That's another attempt for you to pull out a blanket.
I got on a hoodie, extra shirt under the hoodie, the blanket and a hat, and I'm freezing.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 of you in the house. Take a vote.
No, it's all women. It's all women, and they got challenges and issues. I'm gonna lose that vote every time.
What is happening right now?
I'm gonna lose that vote every time.
Threw the babies under the bus. Babies under the bus.
No, I'm just calling it like I see them. I'm just calling it like I see them.
Throwing the babies under the bus.
But you know what? What I've learned over the last couple of years, civil disagreement is real.
Yes, it is.
Or the lack of civil disagreement is real. We can't talk no more as a society. I witnessed the conversation today, and I've been witnessing it a lot on social media. I normally just go to social media now, especially since we started Noise, primarily just for business purposes. Like I'm posting something every now and then. I'll post something, intimately, for my family or whatever, or to acknowledge a friend or somebody that may have passed or something like that, or to wish somebody a happy birthday. But Most of the time, I'm just not on Facebook. So today I witnessed a conversation on Facebook where two people who don't even know each other were going at each other over whether or not somebody should get a shot or not. I'm like, how do you go on social media and just go at each other and you don't even know each other? You don't know this person from Adam, yet you have the boldness to not only disagree with them, but to basically call them a lie?
Well, you know, the thing is, Lloyd, and that's where I offer resistance to your statement about anymore. I don't think we've ever known how to disagree.
Oh, wow.
I think it's always been right or wrong, black or white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's all. And that's always been a problem, which is, you know, a testament to how quickly relationships, not just marriages, but friendships, dissolve because people don't know how to disagree.
I believe that.
Why though? Why have we lost the art of conversation? Is it just not possible to talk anymore?
Oh my gosh, this is heavy. We have totally lost it. It makes me grieve for our children because, you know, when I talk about, man, we was at college, we used to dance on the dance floor. You know, we might stay afterwards and talk and this and that. They have no idea what I'm talking about because when they have their gatherings and stuff, everybody's together, but everybody's on their phone. And they might send a text to somebody across the room.
Well, ironically, we watched the verses, this last verses that went by with Swizz Beatz and Timberland, which I thought was an amazing verses. But everybody was on their phone. I'm not sure the people that were there even saw it.
I mean, it was bad.
I don't know if we know how to talk anymore. Or maybe to Al's point, maybe we never did. But I feel like we did because, but again, I keep saying that, but I also have to remember, like Mama Noise tells me all the time, your friends are different. Y'all are different.
Y'all are.
Because we used to sit around and talk all the time and have all kinds of amazing conversations and life stuff and stay up for hours and, man, what do you think about this and what do you think about that? And I don't know if that's the way it is anymore. Like, I don't know if young people know how to just talk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people know how to talk, period. And especially disagree with one another. Like, disagreeing is becoming a lost art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with Danny. He says people don't know how to agree to disagree and value each other's opinion. That is so true, especially when it comes to social media, because on social media, we get the courage to disagree the way we want to disagree.
Hey, listen.
Not only do I get to disagree with you, but I can disagree with you without any measure of respect.
Right. Or consequences. I don't have a consequence, so I can say what I'm grown enough to say, and you just got to deal with it. And I'm just gonna keep on. It's like, what is happening right now? You don't have. If you were in front of that person, would you say those same things?
I remember there used to be a saying. We used to say this about people when they got drunk in the club and wanted to fight. Oh, he got that liquid courage.
Wow.
He got that liquid courage. That alcohol that made him courageous. He feel like he can fight because he feel like he got them hands because he got that liquor up in him. I feel that way about the social media. Oh, you got that social media courage in you.
Yeah.
Anybody see you.
Right.
Nobody know. All they can see is your face on a picture image or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you feel like you can say whatever you want to say.
Mm. That's right.
But I just don't understand why disagreement has become so hostile. Like, we don't even hear each other no more. We don't even try to hear each other no more.
Mm.
Yeah, Chad said them Twitter fingers. Keyboard warriors.
Yeah. Wow.
I was just amazed. Like I said, I saw a conversation today, and the two people was going at it. And I'm going, y'all don't even know each other. You calling this person out, they calling you out, and y'all don't even know each other.
That's crazy. But then, you know, there are people that'll be like, I'll bust up on your page. You can put, I told y'all a couple of months ago, I put something on my wall, and this dude shows up on my wall trying to tell me about his opinion. Hold on, bro. Why you come on my space trying to tell me?
And by the way, I understand that part of it, because if you put something out in public and you put it out for public consumption and you're quote unquote friends, Facebook friends or Twitter friends or whatever, yeah. I do understand somebody responding to what you put, because that's kind of what it is. That's what social media is. Mm-hmm. What I don't understand is two people going on another person's page and arguing about a topic on their page. Like, go to your own page and have this argument. Why are you on? It's just amazing.
Well, that's what I was saying when I put, you know, I had about Black Lives Matter, you know, but I was saying how, you know, I did the explanation and I had the, you know, the graphic on there, whatever about it. And he like, well, I don't understand why you got to have like Black Lives Matter. Like, you know, didn't you see the part about, I'm not saying that other lives don't matter. I'm just saying that. Huh?
You didn't want to see it.
No, he didn't want to see that. He kept talking about, well, you know, if we just all agree in Jesus Christ. I'm like, bruh, you need to step off my page.
Well, he saw it as an opportunity to witness.
But
I'm going to help my friend and witness to her.
Bruh.
The love of the Lord. What you say, Al? Oh, he maybe wasn't talking to us. It's just amazing to me how people get so courageous and will not have a civil disagreement. We just don't know how to talk to one another no more. Like it's almost like we wake up looking for the fight on social media.
Yeah.
Where can I pick up? Well, let me ask you this question, Mama Noy. What does civil disagreement look like in 2021? Civil. What does it look like? Does it look like you trying to freeze me to pieces?
See, Lloyd, that's pixel dust. You know, that's a contradiction of terms. Civil disagreement. It's either one or the other. Are we going to be civil or are we going to disagree? In this day and era.
There's no possible way to get both?
I would hope so, because that's the only way you're going to see clearly. If you have understanding of somebody else's opinion, somebody else's perspective. But, you know, in this day and age, it doesn't exist. That's like oil and water. Now, in this current climate, civil disagreement, they don't mix now in today's society.
That's a scary thought.
Indeed.
That civil disagreement can't be achieved in today's climate.
At least not on a large platform. Now, you know, you would hope that within your household, within your innermost circle, your family and your close friends, it exists. But on a large platform, no.
I don't know if it exists on a small platform, because, I mean, that's why they say divorces are higher than they've ever been. Maybe we just have lost the ability to civilly disagree with one another.
I don't know. It just brings me back to what we talked about yesterday, is that to learn the difference between, you know, teaching your children from when they're small, just to say sorry, to move on to the next thing, is what we taught them. But have we, you know, and I'm speaking to myself as well, is that we sat down and taught our children how to disagree so that they become adults that understand how to work out disagreements, instead of, I'm mad because me and this person ain't on the same page, so we just ain't gonna talk then, instead of trying to figure out what is the disagreement and how to work it out.
But disagreement, hearing or civil disagreement has to begin with a willingness to want to learn. So at the root of all this, are we just saying that people have finally met their capacity to learn and are no longer, we're incapable of growing in our understanding? I let me tell you something. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned about respecting people happened my junior year of college. I had to come home at the beginning of my junior year in college to go to U of L, University of Louisville, for one semester. I left Morehead and went to the University of Louisville for one semester. And in that semester, I had to take an art education class. And in this class, we sat around in this class, and this lady was amazing. This professor was a godsend. She was incredible. One of the best I've ever seen in my life. Her patience, her ability to communicate, her ability to translate the information, especially to people who were not artistic in nature. Like I'm artistic from a creative perspective, but not from a creative in sense of words and stuff like that, but not in just taking something with my hands and building it and all that stuff. I don't know how to do all that. And so she was just really patient with us in doing that. And I remember we all just loved her. And she would allow these free-flowing open discussions in her class while we were working on our projects. And so it was a beautiful, beautiful exchange of ideas and thoughts, even if the thoughts were different and various in ways. We still had healthy debates and discussions. And one day the discussion drifted to homosexuality. And this one uber religious dude in the class was talking about how it was a sin and an abomination, and they were all going to bust hell wide open with gasoline draws on. And this is in the 90s, so you can imagine how that conversation is going over. And, the class was trying to push back a little bit and say, yeah, but people and people get to choose and this, that, and the other. He said, doesn't matter what you choose, you're going to bust hell wide open if you're a homosexual. And I'll never forget, this beautiful teacher said, well, then I must be the biggest sinner in here.
Oh.
And it was a stunner because at that point in my life, I never had somebody, quote unquote, come out in front of me.
Wow.
It rocked me. I was like, oh, whoa, I did not see that coming. Because she wasn't an obvious.
And neither did your classmate.
And neither did my classmates. And because she wasn't an obvious looking person. She wasn't the stereotypical looking lesbian, if I could say it that way.
Okay.
I don't know why I paused and said if I could say it that way. That's really no other way to say it. Yeah. But yeah, she wasn't an obvious stereotypical looking lesbian. And so we were all just like, wow, that's wow. And so when she finished her comment, she got up and walked out and didn't come back.
Wow.
And so the guy got up and left. The preacher dude got up and left.
Wow.
And the rest of us sit silently. Everybody left silently.
What kind of class was this where everybody just
right? And then the rest of us just kind of sat there like, "Oh God,
this class is over for the day."
What just happened? But what it did for me is that it made me understand that there's a power in disagreement, but also in hearing beyond yourself. You know what I mean? Even though you may not agree at the end of the conversation, still to be able to hear it and to understand that person's point of view and their perspective, there's a real power in that.
But when you said that, the first thing that came in my mind is that it's all about winning.
Yeah.
The disagreement part, I don't really understand that. All I know is that I got to win. And you need to agree with me winning.
What though? Like, what are people on the internet trying to win? Like, I don't get it.
The thing is, you got to be bold enough, courageous enough, yet humble enough to enter into that conversation, that debate, that discussion with the attitude that, okay, I might be wrong. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to enter into the discussion thinking, okay, I might be wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go in bullheaded, like when they released the bull in the bullfighting arena. You just charging whatever you see, and so you do a lot of damage that way.
I remember writing that teacher a letter at the end of the semester because we had the teacher evaluation, and I wanted to say, I told her, I said, I want to thank you for teaching me far more than this art. You've taught me tolerance.
Wow.
And I don't know if I thought I always had it, but I solidified that I had it in that class because I loved her. Like I still this day think she was amazing, and just one of the best professors I ever had in college. But I saw her. I didn't see what her lifestyle was, and I didn't see. And by the way, I didn't say I necessarily agree with her lifestyle choice, but I can love. But I realized I can love her.
Yeah.
And not necessarily love her choices.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people don't have the capacity to do both, to respect what you said, even though that's what you said I don't agree with, or to respect what you believe, even though I don't agree with what you believe. I think it's a hard thing for people to do. I think it's a really hard thing for people to do. And I don't know if people want okay. I don't think people want to I don't think people want to hear other people. I really feel like we've become a society that the win, like you said, Mama Noise, is far more important than the understanding.
That's the only thing I can think of is that it's like, no, what I said was right. And you're like, okay, well, I disagree. Yeah, but what I said was right, though. Okay, you just want the other person to just say, yes, you were right. It's sort of like I said yesterday with the password. The password is, I'm sorry. Now, can we move on?
So now the new disagreement password is you win. You win. And then that person can raise their hands in victory and dance around the ring. And
how many arguments have you surrendered to saying, okay, you're right, I'm wrong, whatever? That's technically saying you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many people? Where does it really end at that point where you just say?
But most of my times I've done that, Al, have been because I was just sick of arguing with the person. Because I was just like, you don't want to understand. So why am I wasting my time trying to get you to have a conversation of sensibility when you have chosen not to be sensible? You're actively choosing to be to not be sensible. You're saying, I'm not interested in that. What I want you to do is bow down to me in this conversation.
Well, see, it's the same thing as yesterday. Sorry. I'm sorry. Now, can we just, because I don't want to keep going round and round with this. But at the same time, I've just basically said, I really don't want to. We want to, we'd hope to teach our children that it's not about just the I'm sorry. It's not about the just you win, but to try to get understanding of the disagreement. Try to get understanding of why, we always, we use the example about being pushed down in the playground and things like that. Why'd you push him down? Because he took my doll. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. At least we understand that you pushed Chucky down because he took your doll. Chucky, why did you take her doll? Because I like her. Oh my gosh. So you like her and you took her doll to get her attention, but she pushed you down. You know what I'm saying? At least we're trying to get some understanding of the chain of events to try to gain understanding so then everybody understands what's going on here. But to just say, well, tell her you're sorry you took a doll and give a doll back. Okay, but she never would understood why he took the doll, and he would never, you know what I'm saying? Nobody gets to understanding.
I don't, but that's the point that I'm getting to. You have to want understanding to get understanding. You have to want it. You have to want to actively go to this conversation to understand. I'll give you a great example, and I kind of already touched on it a little bit, but I think we need to touch on it again. Again, we like to talk about hard stuff on this show, so there's no surprise for what I'm about to say. I think the biggest reason why the alphabet group has problems getting understanding is because they don't want to understand.
Okay.
Here's what I mean.
All right.
They are so hell-bent on their rights. A lot, I won't say all, but a lot of people, a lot of the group are so hell-bent on what has happened to them and in their individual lives that they don't see why many people are vehemently opposed to them because they want to make it they want to turn it into a civil situation, and it's not always civil. Sometimes at the core of what those issues are lifestyle choices. And whether or not you believe in the difference between someone being born a certain way or someone making a lifestyle choice. And so that's it, because to me, a lot of what goes on in the world can be cleared up simply by solving that core problem. If we can just get to the place where I've made a lifestyle choice, this is what I choose to do with my life.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, it's my choice. If we can just leave it there, I think some of it could be solved, because now you can get people on board to fight against that. Like, hey, listen, I don't necessarily agree with the choice, but it's their choice. So they shouldn't have to be vilified for whatever they chose.
You know, I'm going to say something that's going to throw this in a totally different direction.
Okay.
Last night I was watching, I know, a documentary.
Oh my God.
And you know, I think it's very important to what we're talking about right now, because I didn't know all this history until I watched the documentary. The documentary was about Roe versus Wade.
Okay.
I didn't know it, you know, all this kicked off here in Dallas. Of course, I mean, I just happen to be living here where it all kicked all off. But it all stemmed from two attorneys just deciding that we want to push the envelope, because Texas was one of the states that didn't allow legal abortion.
Right.
And so the way they said the only way we could get this to work is if we find an uneducated, poor white woman that needed to get an abortion, but she didn't have the money to leave the state of Texas to find a state that does do it legally. So, but after watching I'm not even through with the rest of the documentary, but half of the documentary, the woman who actually they used lied. She told them that she was raped, and she was not raped.
Oh my.
So then they were like, this throws a monkey wrench in the whole Roe v. Wade, because it was supposed to be like, in other words, this poor white woman that had been raped, and all she was trying to do was to fix the situation because she was young, but yet Texas wouldn't allow it because we weren't a state that allowed legal abortions. So, but then when you find out later, she's like, I'm gonna tell you what happened. She was interviewed by you know, here in Texas, we got a news correspondent that's a pastor.
Yes.
And so this
Shout out to Sean Robb.
John Robb. And so this this black man was interviewing her across the table in her kitchen, and he says, so let's go back to what happened originally. Now, because she's told the story over and over again about how she's such an advocate and pro-choice and blah blah blah. But she said, he looked across the table and said, and so you were raped, right? And it kept dead silent like this. And for the first time out of all the time she's ever been interviewed, she said, I felt like I needed to tell the truth. And I said, no. And it sent shockwaves across the nation because the people on this side have been riding the wave of her all this time. And she says, I just got tired of lying.
Can I tell you why this is important? What you just said is important. Why it's so monumentally important. And I've never revealed this on any show in the 25, almost 30 years I've been in radio. I've never revealed what I'm about to say. That is my biggest challenge with abortion. It has always been my biggest challenge with abortion. The people and the women that have been raped, should they be forced to have a child from their aggressor?
Well, the part about that makes it even more weighty is that the child that she, the one that, since she was the poster child for the whole situation, right, she didn't even have an abortion. She had the child. She's had the two children.
See, this is why it's important to have civil disagreements, because you get to hear all of that. Like if I was to listen to, now granted this woman is trifling because she lied the whole time, but if a woman, I'll never forget listening to, oh gosh, this was the 2004 maybe presidential debate, where John Kerry was running against George Bush. And I'll never forget this moment because it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. They were debating about abortion, which they knew John Kerry was in the trick bag on. Bush knew it. And he asked for abortion to be added to the debate because he knew John Kerry's answer wasn't solid. Mm-hmm. And so they asked him on TV, and John Kerry said, can I just be honest?
Oh, Lord.
Here's what I believe. I believe in pro-choice. I mean, not pro-choice. I'm sorry. I believe in pro-life. So right off the bat, a Democrat saying I believe in pro-life, running on a Democratic ticket. And I believe this is where he lost the election, by the way. He said, I believe in pro-life. But the problem with my frustration with abortion or legislating abortion is that what happens to the woman who is raped and is forced to have a child by the rapist? He said, that doesn't seem right to me, and I don't know how to legislate that. He had my vote right there. I said, wow. I don't know if you're going to win this election, but you probably going to lose, but you got my vote for the rest of your life.
And let's just, roughly tie that into the conversation yesterday as it pertains to forgive and forget. Yeah. Okay, so let's say you forget or forgive that rapist. But how do you forget when you were forced to carry to term and deliver that child that was conceived from that act of rape?
There is no forget. There is no forget. You're stuck with that for the rest of your life.
So how do we torment that woman or that child like that? Because that relationship is never going to be completely, whole.
Which brings us back to today's conversation of civil disagreement. Like, this is the kind of conversations you have to where you have the opportunity to grow and understand. You may not agree. At the end of the day, you still may arrive at your same thought process, but at least you get a chance to hear. Because now, and I'm just telling you, ever since that moment, that's where my stance with abortion has been. Like, I'm pro-life, but there needs to be a path for these moments, these real moments that are taking place in our society where someone got raped by a family member, somebody got raped in a date rape situation, do you force that woman so this is where civil disagreement has to take place if we want society to get better. But the thought engineers here now, so I know this conversation is going to get way better now.
Lord.
The host of Man Talk Mondays and Overcomers Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Overcomers Empowerment Ministry.
Overcoming Empowerment Ministry.
You got to get it right, Mr.
I always
Noise.
forget the empowerment part. I know it's Overcomers, but I always forget the empowerment part. Okay. my brother Derek Smith is here. What's up, my brother? How you feeling? And I know you're ready with the jewels.
Oh man, it's a good conversation, and I think Mama Noise hit the nail on the head when she said, people are not looking for understanding; they're looking for justification. They know they're wrong, but if I can make others feel like, or at least stop them from challenging me, then I don't have that external, the external reminder that what I'm doing, I shouldn't be doing. And that goes with anything. You know what I'm saying? People do not like to be reminded that they're wrong.
So, okay, so you took this in a different direction because I didn't see that one coming. So you're saying there is a right, there is a wrong. Is that what you're saying?
So let me say it this way.
Okay.
Because there can only be right and wrong if there's a deciding party.
Okay.
And I believe in God.
Right. As do we.
I believe he is creator of everything. And by right of creation alone, he is the only one who has the right to say what should and shouldn't happen.
Okay.
And I know people like to say, they think he gave us the earth. No, he didn't give it to us for us to do what we want to with it, but he rather gave it to us to manage. He still owns it.
Right.
So a lot of people say, God is in control. God is in control. That's false. God is not in control. He's in ownership. The control is still on us. But our control is in the interest of the owner. So when we don't do things in the interest of the owner, we now are held accountable to how he wanted things ran. See, as long as God is in control, we can blame him for everything that's wrong.
Wow.
When everybody says, well, how could a loving God let this happen? How can a loving God let babies be killed? God didn't let that happen. We did.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Matter of fact,
we stood by and watched that.
When you said that, you made me think of the newspaper, the headlines on the newspaper when Hurricane Katrina happened. The headlines, I've never seen a headline like that in my life, so it impacted me greatly. The headline says, "Where was God?" in big bold letters.
Right.
In Louisiana. Louisiana's newspaper says, "Where was God?"
Right.
And I'm like, wow. So now we want to know where God is.
So before I give you my serious question, Derek, what does God want in my house with this temperature? Because she's got it freezing.
Oh.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Now, all jokes aside, when you see a conversation like I saw about COVID and whether or not a person should get a shot or not, because I'm going off your premise, what does God want?
You mean whether God wants somebody to take the shot or not?
Yeah, because see, is there room for ambiguity or is this black and white?
It's not black and white. There's a bigger issue with COVID, from the debates about masks and I mean just all of that. It's, do we really care about each other? when you look at it, that's really at the heart of everything. If there is this big conspiracy about the virus, about the vaccine, do we care about each other? If there really is, you know, you don't have to wear a mask, this thing is false. So anytime I go in without a mask, I'm looking for a fight and I'm looking to prove myself right. Do I really care about the next person? Because if the person in their mind, if this thing is serious and they're afraid, then me, even if I feel it's a hoax, man, let me throw on a mask just so everybody else feels better. We don't want to do that.
You preaching now.
We don't care about each other. We don't care about other people and their well-being. It's all about my rights. But you can be wrong in your rights.
Derek, you done went to preaching on here today. Let me tell you something. My number one and 1A reasons for wearing a mask were, number one, I wanted to protect myself and my family. Number two, I wanted to protect the people, especially early on in the pandemic, that were sacrificing their lives for my family to survive. Think about this. I made this observation very early on. Man, we talk about the nurses, we talk about the doctors. I appreciate everything that they have sacrificed in this pandemic. It has been nothing short of amazing. But you know who else sacrificed in this? The $7.25 an hour Walmart worker.
Facts.
Right.
Who had everything to lose and still kept showing up to work to make sure I could go get some bottled water and bacon.
Right.
And for me, wearing my mask to a grocery store was about him. Because I don't want to bring something in and make you sick, because the fact that you're still working at this job in the middle of a pandemic says that you have to work at this job in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I want to do is make it worse by just when all I have to simply do is just put on a mask.
Right.
It's an easy thing to do.
When you said that, you made me think of, essential workers were put in the position of like military, war, battle. We send the soldiers in.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, we send in essential workers like, well, we're going to stay safe at home, but y'all got to go in. Mr. Garbage Man, we want that garbage still picked up.
Can you imagine picking up garbage in a pandemic? How dangerous that is?
Right.
Come on, man.
That's
Come
great.
on.
That you're right, but you hit such an amazing point, Derek, because we would rather stand on the wrong of our principle. Because here's what makes the principle wrong to me, which further highlights our inability to have civil disagreement. It doesn't matter if you're right that it's a hoax. That doesn't matter.
No.
That is irrelevant. The fact that you're being asked to do it because it could possibly help somebody else should be enough. And it's not. Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, if people really cared about each other, if this United States was really united, we would never need the vaccine. If everybody would have just taken one for the team and stayed at home 3 weeks,
wow,
we wouldn't have had this issue. This was the backup plan because people's behavior. And listen, if somebody did, which construct this thing and put it out there, they already factored in the attitudes and behaviors of the people and its effectiveness to destroy however many people they because they already mapped it out, how many people they wanted to wipe out. Because regardless of whether it's a hoax or not, the dead bodies are not false.
That part is real.
Facts.
Yeah.
It's not false. But everything, when somebody does something like this, if this is a conspiracy, if somebody does something like this, they factor in the behavior of people into their equation.
Yeah.
Banks factor in people's fiscal irresponsibility when they set up banks. payday loan people. They factor into it people's irresponsibility with money because they're not providing a service.
Yeah.
As much as this is what they tell us, they're not providing the service. They're trying to get paid.
Yeah.
And they know they can get paid more by your irresponsibility than people who are actually responsible. So it's the same thing with everything that hits this country. Here comes the news, media, and everybody, and they're at odds. Nobody's reporting the same thing because everybody has their agendas. And it's like, who cares about the people?
Wow.
Who really cares about people who are dying? Who really cares about people who have to suffer through these things? And that's really at the heart of it. People will argue till they blue in the face because it's not about wrong or right. It's about, I have to be right. And don't forget, I had a conversation with a guy. We actually got into an argument. It was a brother of mine. You know, I considered him a brother at the time.
Yeah.
We was in church. We had a disagreement about something. And we going back and forth. And I pulled up. I was like, hold up, man. I was like, hold up. I said, you know what? For the sake of our friendship, brother, you can be right. I said, because this thing is going to a point to where we won't even be friends anymore by the end of this. And I'd rather preserve the friendship than to argue something. If this is what you believe, then just believe that.
Yeah.
Stop him dead in his tracks, because he was dead set on arguing with me. And I'm like, it's pointless, you know, because if we're really good friends, then the friendship is the thing that's at stake, not the argument.
Right.
I think this is a good place to ask this question to both of you. Are people incapable of seeing two sides anymore?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I think it's just a lot harder. It's a lot harder because the approach of the arguments are skewed. Nobody asks questions. They just pass judgments.
Yeah.
Nobody asks, where is this coming from?
That statement, those 4 words are maybe the most powerful words never used in our society. Never. We never think about that. We never consider it. We never even use it as an option. Where is this coming from? Or 5 words, I guess. Where is this coming from?
Well, because sometimes it may be coming from something that has nothing to do with what it is you're talking about.
Most times it's coming from that. Most times it's coming from a place that is you know, I've learned something, and Derek, you probably have seen this a million times as well. I've learned something in counseling. Most of the time, the thing that you're mad about ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Nothing. It's rooted in something that was built a long time ago, and now it is manifesting itself into this big thing now today. And so you see it, and then you go, oh, okay, I see how we got here. But you never get to that understanding if you never ask that question you just asked. Where is this coming from? Like, why do you feel so strongly about it? Well, because my mama went through this. Oh, well, then there it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, yeah. So it makes you wonder, man, are we capable of asking that question?
Well, a lot of times we just want to shut it down. You just, okay, this is an argument. Or you just a person that shies away from conflict. That, you know, so what, this sounds like conflict. And then they shut all the way down. And you're like, let's talk about it. We need to get there. Where is this coming from? Well, they just draw up and have nothing else to say about it because this sounds like conflict. And so the best way to deal with that is just not to say anything at all.
How much of the avoidance of that question that you just said, Derek, is rooted in my desire for a specific outcome because that outcome benefits me?
Oh yeah. People want what they want, and they don't want anybody to restrict them in getting what they want. Now, we all know everything we want isn't good for us, but who cares? I mean, that's the society we live in, man. It's like everything's objective. Everything's subjective. There's nothing straight down the middle to say what's right, what's wrong. And this is the whole purpose of removing God from everything, because God is ultimate accountability.
Yeah.
So if I can remove him,
yeah,
I got free reign to make my own definitions, to say what's right based on my own terms. And I don't care who's on the other side of that and how it affects them.
Which is the danger of being a completely independent thinker. It's nothing wrong with it in the sense of I'm not gonna be guided, or not. I won't say guided. I'll say manipulated to think what you want me to think because you want me to go in this direction. But there is a danger to be so independent that you reject all opportunity to have concrete thought anymore.
Yeah.
There needs to be some absolutes in your thinking.
Independence in and of itself is flawed because we think independence is the goal. Independence was never the goal. Interdependence was always the goal. Learning how to stand and develop something on your own serves the purpose of how do I reintroduce this into a bigger picture so that I'm part of something bigger. So people land at independence and they stop there. The interdependence never enters their mind. Never enter, I need to partner with somebody else, because if I'm the best baker in the world and I can bake bread to, like nobody's business, but I want to make a sandwich, I'm gonna have to compromise with somebody. Because the guy that got the meat, he don't have bread.
Right.
I got bread, he got meat. Let's come together. Let's make something happen. But if I'm saying bread is the end all be all, but yet and still everybody's hungry from something else, then I just rather argue with everybody with, no, you wrong for eating that. You need to be eating bread. It's all, so we miss it.
At the foundation of that interdependence is, and our lack of understanding of what that is where we find ourselves. Because here's the other side of civil disagreement. I don't want a civil disagreement that doesn't allow us the opportunity to grow into something. Because a lot of our civil disagreement these days is also hidden in what we call political correctness. I don't want to say nothing. Like, one of the things I've noticed about Clubhouse, I've been on Clubhouse, Derek.
Okay.
And, one of the things I've noticed about Clubhouse these days is everybody has these eggshell conversations.
Come on here.
I don't want to say anything that's too controversial because I want to respect your thought, which is fine. But the danger of that is that if I'm always leaving room for ambiguous thought, we never arrive at anything definitive on either side. And at some point, there has to be, if what you're saying is true, that we ultimately are supposed to be interdependent. And I would even go further and say interdependent on God first, then it's got to go back to God. And you keep trying to avoid that, trying to not say what you feel like you need to say here.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
And you don't want to get kicked out of the Clubhouse.
Right. Right.
You don't get kicked off a Clubhouse, right.
Here's the problem with interdependence. Without maturity and understanding, it feels like dependence. So you'll mistake it for dependence when it's not. It's a higher level. Because if I have bread and I need this guy for meat, I can stand alone with my bread. I just want a sandwich. So let me get with this guy who got, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The cold cuts or whatever. Let me get with him so that we can just come to an agreement to make something bigger and better. But greed is a monster.
Oh man.
Everybody wants what they want.
They want what they want.
And the world is telling them you can have it. but it's not.
That's real. That part is very real. The world is telling you you can have it
without telling you the cost.
Mm.
It's gonna cost.
Mm. What is the cost? Let's go there.
There's a story. There's a story in the Bible, and everybody loves to praise King Hezekiah for the prayer he prayed that was answered, and 15 years is added to his life, and everybody loves to shout about it.
Okay.
The last 15 years, he blew it. He was a good king up to that point.
Yeah.
If he had went on, took what God was giving him a way out before he blew it, and King Hezekiah got sick, so King of Babylon sends emissaries to bring him something to check on him. You know, we just want to, and he gets prideful and says, "What? I'm good. What?" So he showed him everything, all he had, being prideful, and so the prophet comes to him and say, "What did you show him?" He said, "Everything." He said, "Just know they're gonna come and they're gonna take over. They're gonna rape and kill your women, all this kind of stuff. They're gonna do all this stuff." He said, "Will there still be peace in my time, though?"
Mm.
And as long as there's peace in my time, I can care about what happens to them down the road.
Oh, wow. Wow.
He said, I could care less. And that's the attitude we have.
As long as I get what I get, as long as it doesn't affect me,
in my time.
Good. I'm good.
Exactly.
That's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. And it's the reality. And honestly, the root of most of our disagreements is exactly what you said. I can get behind this Twitter keyboard and say whatever I want to say because it don't affect me no way.
Right.
Now it's on your page, so it's going to affect you and your friends, and not you because you let me on your page. But it don't affect me at all.
Right. Or even with all the conflict that we had about the mask wearing and stuff here in Texas. Well, you know, until somebody says no, you have to wear a mask. We all need to wear a mask. Why do I got to wear a mask? Because we're looking out for, you know, we're looking out for everyone. But I got rights to say I don't have to. Okay, I understand you have rights. We all have the rights. But can you, you know, just be concerned about your fellow man and just take the necessary steps so that we can go through this as a country, make it to the other side, and everybody win? No, I won't mind. And what's that commercial? The money.
My money and I want it now.
Give me my money and I need it now.
My money and I want it now.
Right. So it's a matter of fact, that particular business makes their money because they got all these people who got money that's supposed to be coming to them in increments. They say, look, you ain't got to wait. I'll go ahead and give it all to you now, and then I'll just keep getting the increments.
Right.
So for that person where I'm in all these going, man, it says we would like, it is so sad. It's so sad. I got to say it. It's so sad that the governor got to say anybody that gives these people a hard time is going to suffer $1,000 fine because they ask for you to wear a mask when you come in their establishment.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? We ain't saying wear it in your car. We ain't saying wear it outside. We're saying if you come in this establishment, be cordial, be kind to your fellow man, and just wear a mask because we don't know all that well, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to. You don't have no way of knowing that these people are fully vaccinated.
Right.
So just, I mean, what are you going to say? Wait a minute, like you do in Sam's Club? Let me see your card before you go in the store. I need to see you.
I want to submit something to you in regards to what you just said, because I think we're kind of maybe possibly missing the bigger play that's about to take place. I would like to think that people who are running this type of stuff are intelligent enough to know that that conflict exists in and of itself. Once you lift a mask mandate and we no longer have the opportunity to know who is vaccinated and who's not without a way of checking it, you already know the conflict is going to arise. So it leaves the door open for now a new conflict. Well, you're right. We don't know. So we need to know. So here's what we're going to do now.
Oh, gosh.
And now we've got a new conflict. Do you have your vaccination card or don't you have it? And it'll be a part of your driver's license, and it'll be a part of your,
Your
you can't
passport.
get into school. You can't get your passport. You can't get your voting card. You can't get your, you know what I mean? It becomes this whole other thing. And so meanwhile, the feelings of those who are still a little hesitant because of the distrust that our own government has created over 400 plus years of conflict, they say, I just don't know if I can trust our government that way. It falls on deaf ear, and that level of the disagreement becomes pushed aside for the quote unquote greater good.
Right.
The reality of it is, it's not a greater good. It's just the win that Derek is talking about. We want to win, so we're gonna put these steps in place so that we can.
Yeah, and most of the time, our win comes at the expense of somebody else. And at that point, is really, do I care or not?
I saw another conversation of a young lady talking about her experience, and she said, "I know 3 people who have gotten COVID after their Pfizer shot, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, so please don't take it this way." But she said, I know them and they've passed. And I said, wow, after the shot? And she's like, yeah. And so that fear is out there. And it's real. It's a legit fear. Now, it's not the fear that motivated me and mine to go get it, because we felt like something else, that despite all of that, the millions that have not passed as a result of it kind of outweigh the few that have. So that, that's kind of what we were thinking. So, but that doesn't delegitimize what she experienced.
Oh yeah.
But because of the way we're going and our inability to have civil disagreement, her feelings are vilified, for lack of a better word.
Right.
Vilified because she's not being a humanitarian. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, this morning when I saw on the news that New York City had fireworks display because they were setting off the or should I say the fireworks display was because they are lifting all mandates.
Yeah.
All mandates in 100%. I mean, they were like, no contact tracing, no taking your temperature, no, everything. Everything is lifted.
Yeah. And the thing we gotta watch out for, I mean, you still gotta be diligent about everything. So you have to take your own safety personal.
Yeah.
And and not just, like I said, not a fearful thing, because fear in and of itself drives a whole lot of this to begin with.
Right.
But be informed and just make decisions based on what's good for you and the next person. You got to think about the next person. Got to think about it. If somebody, has a mask on and I see them looking at me, if I got a mask, I'll just throw it on. Just so you have peace of mind about me. But yeah, Bible says without pride, there is no contention. And that's the whole thing here. We just got a whole lot of pride. Everybody has their pride, and they're defending it with everything they have.
We started this show today talking about people's inability to just simply communicate and just to talk. Just that very fundamental, basic thing of conversation. Is at the core of a lot of what we're seeing in our society as problematic. I wonder if there's any way to reconcile that part of our lives. I one of my biggest concerns with my girls is their ability to communicate, and which is one of the reasons why I've tried to allow them their social media privileges slowly, because I don't want them to be so codependent upon technology as their way of information gathering or their way of the exchange of ideas, that it becomes the more prevalent way that they gather stuff. There's still tremendous value in being able to have a dialogue with your fellow man. And not only just tremendous value, but tremendous necessity in hearing an exchange of thought that may be different than what you feel. Because to me, when I have these dialogues and exchange of thoughts, many times it solidifies what I already believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we snatch that away and we're trolled on social media with so much information without fact checking it, without validation of that information, we become so inundated with it that it somehow becomes truth. And then you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to have a variant thought.
Oh yeah. Nobody wants to be reminded that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. And the more you try to show people that they're wrong, they're going to keep coming back with either defending their argument or trying to shut you up. This is why, the words, the definitions, and all this kind of stuff, there's a lot of play on what you can and cannot say.
Yeah.
Because it's all about silencing you and not understanding people will not be silenced. They may not say it verbally. Typically, when people are not speaking, they're acting.
Yeah.
So you just gonna stir up something that's where you would rather them talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a guy say when Trump got elected, he said people couldn't say how they felt in public, but they got in the voting booths and told you exactly how they felt. They
told you exactly how they felt. That's a great, yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can try to shut people up. You would rather have a conversation with them, because if you don't listen to them, they're going to make sure you feel them if you don't hear them. So let's have a conversation.
But then it's scary to me because I'm thinking, man, when I think of our kids, I'm like, man, it seemed like, how can we help them to, we'll have communication. We communicate with them, but to communicate with each other and, and other people when everything is so much surrounded around technology, where, when you finally do talk to a real person, it's like, you don't have any content. You don't have any dialogue to be able to talk to someone, because that's not, you're usually able to say LOL or BRB, and you're doing all of these snippets of conversation. That ain't even a conversation, a snippet of a few words. And I'm not knocking the generation. I'm just saying I'm trying to. It grieves me because I'm going, man, you guys don't even know how to talk to each other without. Are we just looking at ourselves? Because did we do that when the older generation, did they say that about us? That we can't communicate?
Probably.
Every older generation is complaining about the younger one.
Yeah.
It just happens like that. But I will say this: you can let conveniences run your life. The purpose of conveniences, like technology, is to free you up for the things that are most important. There are some things that can never be rushed. You just gotta be patient with it. I think Stephen Covey called it the law of the farm. You can't rush crops to grow.
Right.
You can only tend to them. They grow in their own time. And it's when you try to rush them, like with synthetic type stuff, you mess up the ground, the very thing that is necessary for it to grow to begin with. Once you destroy that, now nobody's healthy.
I agree.
Nobody gets what they need.
You can't rush gumbo.
You cannot rush gumbo.
That feels like a really,
I just thought about that. It just can't be rushed. You just can't.
Thing you just said there.
You can't microwave gumbo. It's a long process that requires much thought and.
Right.
Well, not only that, I know you're being facetious, but the truth of the matter is that's true on many levels, because number one, the very nature of the ingredients demands patience.
Right.
They come from all different places and have to be brought together to be able to be created. So there's just some things that it just takes time to put together. And so I guess I'll ask this we'll rest our final hat on this question. The most difficult conversations, should they be happening in the light or the shadows? And what that simply means is, can we have difficult conversations in public forums, or should we be having them? I know we're having this conversation in the public forum, so I may have answered my own question, but this also could be a one-off. Like this, you can't do this. I've heard other podcasts try to attempt to have conversations, and because of the mix of people that they have in the room, it doesn't go well. So
they don't want it to go well.
Huh?
They don't want it to go well.
And some of them don't want it to go well because that's how you boost your thing.
Exactly.
I just wonder, how do we have civil conversations? Do we do that in the light or the shadows? Because I will say I've had more success talking to people about very hard things privately than I have publicly. I will admit to that.
You would have to define what mature behavior is, to where people understand when they're being immature versus being mature. Because maturity says, I know how to handle my emotions and control them in a way where they don't get out front and get in the way of the discourse. Because if you feel passionately about an idea, whether it's wrong or right, your emotions are going to get tied up in it. And only you can stop yourself from your emotions taking over. Because once the emotions take, I'm not listening anymore. There's nothing civil about this conversation anymore. It's all about the win. I have to end you verbally.
And that's not in the light or the shadows. It don't even matter.
Right.
Yeah. That don't even matter. Yeah. If I want to win, I want to win. Yeah.
Now, I think the conversations will happen in the shadows because in the light, they will be disrupted. The best conversations are probably going to happen behind closed doors, rather.
And then emerge in the light at some point.
Right. But God said, make your prayers in private.
Yeah.
I'll reward you openly.
Yeah. That makes it hard, man. Because that immediately brings progress. Well, not necessarily. I was going to say it brings progress to a slower pace, but maybe it's all about who you're having the conversations in the shadows with, too.
I was going to say.
Like, there has to be a very deliberate strategy at that point.
Yeah.
When we're having these conversations. Because, you said something else, too. You've said so many wonderful things, as you always do when you come on here. People want to win. People don't want to get embarrassed. People have an ego. People have an image to protect. And so sometimes the best way to preserve the for lack of a better word, the arrogance of man is to do it in the darkness. Because now you're not faced with any of that. So if we're having a hard conversation and I say something that you feel a little sideways, well, the only person that heard me say it, and the only person that, in quote unquote, I said it in front of her, it was you. So now you're not embarrassed by what I said. You may not like it, but you're not embarrassed by it.
Exactly.
But when it's viral, you know,
Yeah,
it's a
no,
whole different thing.
that invites to pride. No,
Yeah,
I was teaching GED down in Oak Cliff. Was at the Urban League Center right off Lancaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I had teenagers. You know, these are kids on probation that were forced to go to a GED class. So one day it was a room full of kids, and these two guys decide they want to fight. So they go outside, you know, taking shirts off, squaring up the whole nine. And of course, the crowd rushes out. So me and the guy and another guy who were over them, instead of grabbing the two guys, we just got everybody back inside. Once we got them back inside, the guys came back in and sat down. They couldn't perform anymore. The audience was gone. So
That's a great story.
So when you talk about the shadows, that's what I mean about the shadows.
Yeah.
This is why it can't happen in the light, because in the light, there's this, I gotta perform.
Yeah.
Once you take the performance out and people can be real, now you can have a more frank conversation and people can hear each other.
Yeah.
That
But
is hilarious.
as long as I'm grandstanding, long as there's somebody to, you know, I'm looking for the likes, I'm looking for the follows.
Right.
Nah, it's not gonna be pure.
You know what's so powerful about what you just said?
Yeah.
Early in the pandemic, when we knew nothing about it at all, it was all just guesswork. A person that I at the time considered to be a friend, went on Kieta's page and just lit her up in regards to her belief of what COVID was and wearing your mask and how, you know, you falling for the trick of the enemy and blah, blah, blah. He just lit into her.
Mm-hmm.
And I went as a husband would and
Right.
outed him on a couple of things. And he immediately inboxed me on Messenger.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey man, why would you
Bro,
say that
he
publicly?"
went to the inbox.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
No, we doing this.
No, we doing this on the front side.
Oh, okay.
He went to my messenger and said, "Hey man, why would you say that about me on a public forum like that?" And I said, "Bro, you talked about my wife on a public forum.
Right.
Where did you think I was going to answer you at?"
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you could have messaged me. No, you could have messaged me.
Right.
Really, sir?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But that goes back to what you're saying. He didn't do it for Kieta. He did it for Kieta's audience.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I want to show this audience that they're wrong or whatever it is I want to show them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you take the audience away, it's a whole different conversation. Look, we've been friends over 10 years. Right. So why would you go on her page and do this?
Right.
If we truly are friends, then you should have inboxed her and said, "Hey man, have y'all thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that?" You didn't do that. So when you out somebody publicly, I gotta address you publicly.
Right.
Okay, can I say, first of all, I am still laughing inside about what Derek did with his teenagers.
I love that.
And dare I say I'm going to add that to my arsenal of.
I was going to say I'm borrowing.
I'm going to use it. That's like two people going outside talking about we finna shoot, but we took the bullets out of the guns before they got out there, and now they standing. Now they standing there looking like I'm going. Well, I was going to do something, but
now it's all bullets.
Yeah.
Right, I have no bullets now. So, but you know what? That's what I was telling somebody the other day, ironically, is that I think that's the solution to a whole lot of bullying. If everybody would stop getting around, giving them the cell phone, you know, like trying to world star it and all that stuff and just go back inside and leave them outside, then there's nobody for them to put on. They ain't got nobody to grandstand in front of. It dumbs down the whole situation.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. And Derek, I want you to jump back in. It makes you wonder: Did George Floyd die because he was racist, or because he was racist and had an audience?
You mean Chauvin?
Yeah,
I think that added a different.
Because maybe he gets up if there's no audience. If it's in the back alley and can't nobody see it and he say nothing, maybe he gets up and says, "Well, I've done enough damage." He gets the point. You know,
It was clearly pride of you're not gonna make me get up.
you're not gonna make me get up.
Because everybody had the cell phones rolling. And it reminds me
Yeah.
of this story. It was there were two kids about to fight. And this young black guy comes and he calms them down. He said, "Hey, stop, look." He say, "Don't you see all the cameras?" He say, "You ain't nobody trying to stop y'all, but they all got their cameras out. Why y'all trying to perform for everybody?" And he ended up stopping him. The guy was on Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey had the guy in the
I think I remember this. Yeah, I think I remember that.
He was like, "Man, this ain't worth performing for people who don't care about you."
Nothing about you.
So, yeah, we're in a bad place as a nation. But I will say this: this is nothing that no other developed nation hasn't gone through.
Hmm.
And you look at history, all developed nations have gone through this.
Yeah.
America's still the young one
Relatively young. Yeah.
compared to everybody else. We're kids, you know.
Right.
So we're in that rebellious phase as a nation.
Lord have mercy.
The early 20s, and you know, that's what we are. And when we get to our 30s,
we can drink and get up and go to work. I can drink all night and still get up and go to work.
Right.
We just
Right. Yeah.
That's a great point, man. I wish there was another way for us to find, you know, people laugh at hip hop and say, "Oh man, hip hop does all these weird things and it's so immature and it does this, it does that." Well, man, hip hop ain't but 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a baby compared to classical music. That's a basic baby compared to jazz, to country, to, you know, we're the baby of the bunch. What do you expect? And we're a baby with money.
Yeah.
What do you expect a child with money to do? Childish things.
Right.
Oh,
We're getting
God.
older, we're getting wiser, we're figuring it out. I remember Big Boy saying when he first got his first check from the first couple of albums, he bought cars and rims and everything. And then he realized how dumb that was, and he started buying land. You get older, and you start to get, hopefully you start to get wiser. And you start to understand the level of mistake. And I think I say this all the time, man, the 40s for me have been great. Being in my 40s has been great. Because one thing what happens in your 40s is that you stop caring what other people think. And you start to form your own thought process. And you say, "I don't really buy that no more. You can't really sell that to me no more."
Right.
And then you start to be just liberated and say, "Okay, this is who I am. This is how I believe. And this is how I want to raise my family." And so, and there's a power and a goodness in that. But yet also, I think also it has allowed me to get to a place where I'm willing to accept other thought more so than I ever have been before. Like, I'm not saying I completely agree with what you're saying, but I'm willing to at least hear what you're saying so that I can understand what you're saying and even understand better what I believe,
Right.
which is important,
Right.
which is really, really valuable and important. And I'm willing to do that in the light or the dark shadows. Doesn't matter to me anymore.
We always judge people based on what we understand and what we know, our perspective. Yeah. And I'll never forget hearing Dr. Monroe says you never do that. You always deal with people from how they see things because their perception is their reality. Now, if you know it's wrong, you can't attack their perception because that's going to, you know.
Yeah, that's going to make it worse. Yeah.
A brother offended is hard to be won.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come at them trying to understand, genuinely trying to understand, then now you can have a conversation. But if you just come and, you know, attacking, "Oh, you wrong, you going to hell," and all this kind of stuff, ain't nobody gonna listen to you.
No.
Nobody gonna listen to you.
Well, you just out of the church, Derek. Thanks, buddy. I mean, but that's the truth, though. The truth, though, you can't grow closed-minded. You can't. Your mind can't grow when it's closed. There's just no way to do that. And I'm telling you, man, we're at a very critical time in the growth of this nation, in the growth of in the kingdom of God, in the growth of us as Black people, where we need to decide who and what we want to be going forward.
Yeah.
What do we want to be? Do we want to continue to go down this path that has gotten us nothing and nowhere, or do we want to try to get better clarity and to have these conversations, these difficult conversations, to where we can move things forward and allow for multiple. Listen, people, I got so many inboxes and people saying to us, man, why are y'all coming for Black Lives Matter? Why are y'all coming for Black Lives Matter? It has never been that I'm coming for Black Lives Matter. It is me saying we got to ask some difficult questions, because what we were told and what this is seem to be two different things.
Right.
And when people started asking questions about what it is, they seem to be wanting to go back into the shadows. Well, no, you can't. Listen, y'all are my friends that have come to my Facebook page. We had this in an open forum. Black Lives Matter didn't happen in the shadows. It happened in the open forum. So now we got to have a discussion in the open forum about what this is.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with the church. That's the same thing with Black Lives Matter. That's the same thing with everything that we're talking about. It's happening in real time. Mm-hmm. So we can't afford to, we can start some discussions in the shadows and emerge to the light, but there are some things that we got to question openly to get answers.
Well, doesn't the scripture say what's done in the dark should come to the light?
What's done in the dark will come to the light.
So you can have all the dark conversations you want. It's still going to come to the light.
Well, it's coming to the light whether you want to or not.
Right. Hey, ask all these different stars that was like, they'll be on a specific platform. And then all of a sudden somebody digs up a Twitter post from 10 years ago and says, this is not what you said back in 2002. You like, what?
We have never had corporations collide with government, collide with civil unrest in such a way that they produce these kinds of results. Right. The reason why I'm so concerned about Black Lives Matter is because if it is indeed revealed that there's negative stuff that has been happening, it's the equivalent of getting rid of the demon and then he comes back 7 times stronger.
Right.
You think that racist demon ain't coming back stronger than it ever has because now they got the ammunition that the last time we tried to help y'all stole $90 million?
Yeah.
Well,
that's real, bro.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So we got to be careful. And this is where openness has to be present.
Yeah.
If you're not hiding nothing, be open about it.
Then be open about it.
Because people are having a hard time trusting. Rightfully so. Because every effort to trust people has, come to the people's demise.
Yeah.
So somebody who wants the public arena, they want the microphone, they want the platform, be ready to be open. And never be afraid to admit when you were wrong.
That sounds so simple, but boy.
You said something there, sir. It takes maturity to be able to admit that you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can't, should you have ever been on the platform in the first place? Should you be elevated to a place of leadership when you're not? Man, the worst thing to do is to get that promotion and you're not ready for it.
Right.
Because not only get you the promotion,
the
only character will keep you there.
Right. Because character is gonna keep you working.
Yeah.
Character gonna keep you learning. But if you're looking for the talent to just, what worked for you at one level is not necessarily going to work at the next. But it's the ability to learn, to grow. That's what carries you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Every time the thought engineer comes on, he's brilliant.
Fact.
I think brilliance and the thought engineer are synonymous with one another.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I just think it's you just that dude. Tell everybody, Man Talk Mondays is what time?
7:00 every Monday night.
Central, 7:00 Central.
And we got our podcast that you can go and listen to, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of that. So yeah, absolutely.
And then of course on Sundays, although a lot of people are starting to go back to church, but if you still feeling, I don't know.
If you still feeling bedside Baptist,
we got the perfect remedy for that. The Overcomers Empowerment Ministries.
Yes. Sunday mornings 11:30, but of course you can go back and check that out whenever you feel like it. It's on Facebook, so go and check it out.
Hey, that's how I get my word.
Appreciate it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely appreciate it. Yeah.
Click.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate you jumping on, brother.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, man. Derek Smith, the thought engineer, joining us for another. Listen, this is a good show. I'm thankful to have these type of discussions because these type of discussions aren't easy, but they are so necessary to better understanding. I want to make a couple of quick announcements. Tomorrow we got a very special show. Simplistically Digital and Tech Valor are coming on to talk about the virtual Creators Expo that is coming Saturday. God, it's so fast for
Juneteenth.
Yeah, it's coming Saturday. So you don't want to miss that. And they're going to come and join us tomorrow to talk about it and what it is, how it works, who all's going to be there. I know two people that are going to be there that are going to be kind of cool, doing our thing. The Noisemakers, Mr. and Mrs. Mama Noise, moving from old school media to new school media. That's what we're going to be talking about at 2:15 Central, 3:15 Eastern. So we'll be in the house for that, and that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. So shout out to them that's going to join us tomorrow. Then, of course, we got Black Friday. Black Friday's coming up always on Friday.
Yeah.
I talked to Unc. Unc will be back with us, I think, on Friday. He'll be back with us on Friday. He's been away taking care of some business, but he will be back on Friday. So we can get together. Let's get together. Mama Noise, what are we doing tonight? Are we watching the Versus?
What for what reason?
I always watch the Versus.
Yeah, just because you always don't mean you have to.
It's the first female rap Versus. I have to watch that. I have to support them. They haven't had a female rap Versus.
Female rap
Versus.
I don't think that's accurate.
It literally says on here, first female rap Versus.
Just because it is doesn't mean I need to watch it.
I thought you was Team Eve.
I am, but I just can't sit through Trina. What? I mean, I'm saying I can't sit through watching
hate
a bunch of collabos just trying to make it, it's like
2 Chainz
trying to add some flour into some gravy, trying to thicken it up because that's what it seems like.
That's cold-blooded right there. You leave Trina alone. She is a rap queen. But I agree with Dion. Eve's gonna win easily. It's not even gonna be close.
I mean,
I just like seeing rap grow up, and it's kind of cool to watch it grow up. So I'm probably gonna watch.
So they probably both vaccinated. They probably gonna be all in the same place.
They will be. I'm grilling some burgers tonight.
Oh, you trying to make it? See, you know what? I think. Do you feel a certain way about one of these rappers? Is that what's happening here?
I do not. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Although this morning I did hear you saying "Shake It Tambourine, come and give yourself a whistle."
Well, I do like that song. Shake it tambourine, go and get stuff and whistling. I think I like that beat too.
Yeah, I do.
Timberland, go and get yourself a whistling.
I mean, it sounds like it's some Timberland or something.
No,
I
that's,
do
Swiss.
like-
That's actually Swiss. That's a Swiss beat.
really?
Yeah, that's a Swiss beat. Yep.
I don't know, because truth be told, I think that Timberland took Swiss Beats to the woodshed on that last one. So I agree with the people.
know.
When the peoples were
Swiss-
saying overall,
Swiss
Timberland beats
has
Swiss Beats.
Timberland has more hits, I think, but Swiss got some really amazing beats. Like
He
he's
got
a lot of,
but he don't have as many. That's the point.
he don't have the hits.
Right.
He don't
That's
have
the
the
point.
hits. Like big mega hits. Like
That's the
Timberland
point.
got. Yeah,
That's the point. And he lose coup points for trying to backpedal. First, he had an S on his chest like Superman or Super Swiss Beats, like he was finna come for Justin Timberlake. And then the next day, he tried to backpedal and said, "Oh, that was a Liquid Courage."
Oh, why you, boy, you be coming for people's necks, Mama Knows. Like you would be.
I'm just saying the facts. The facts is he was like, he been taking all this money from the black community, the culture. He been draining the culture. Then the next day, you know what I had said previously?
Sometimes that liquor be hitting different. That Liquid Courage. We talked about that. Liquid Courage.
Oh my gosh.
Next thing you know, you done said something you shouldn't have said previously.
The next day, that brother was like, now that that's on Wolf, and after deep consideration,
I gotta share something with you. I found a new show on Netflix. Some of y'all probably already seen this show, but I found it, and I gotta be honest with you, I love it.
No.
Show called Lupin. Have y'all seen Lupin? Lupin? Lupin?
I don't know. Dion is king of seeing stuff online, and
I love Lupin. It's really good. But here's what's interesting. It's in French. So you have to watch
So
it.
you just sitting there looking at it
Well,
going,
you can watch
oh.
You can watch it with the English interpretation. So you get 4 choices. You can watch it in French with the subtitles, or you can watch it in English with the subtitles, or just English or whatever. But their mouths aren't, it's not moving in the right way or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. I like watching it in the French.
Oh, Dion.
I like watching it in the French with the subtitles. It's really good.
So you like
Thank
watching
you,
it
Dion.
like
Thank you,
like
brother.
back in the day when we used to watch the Chinese, Bruce Lee movies. And
Yeah.
his mouth would be moving in Chinese, but we would get the English caption.
Yes, I love that. I prefer it that way. Cause it's weird. Cause then you get caught up looking at their mouths and it's moving a weird way, but the words ain't what you like. What? So all that's confusing to me. So I put it on French, and I just watch the French.
So it's not just one movie; it's a bunch of episodes.
It's episodes. It's